Okay, we are live. Father Miller here. Welcome back to the Nerd. Father, a lot to talk about today. Where do we even begin?
Well, at the
Oh my
bottom.
God, it's
So,
Ian.
Indiana
Ian's
Jones.
like here, like showing Ian. You're not just a disembodied voice this week. I'm so
No,
excited.
well, no. I mean, I've been in other. Everybody knows what I look like anyway. I've been in other streams. They see my face. Now they know who to kill.
So,
There you go.
Archer's in the chat. I threw the link into StreamYard if you want to join. So, Ian and I were talking about Indy before we went live.
What do you reckon, Roman? What do you reckon, Roman? Come on, mate.
I'm preparing for disappointments and the erasure of one of the great characters in modern cinema is what I'm preparing for.
Yeah, you mean another great character in modern cinema?
Yes, another. I apologize. He's another character in cinema. The only minor highlight I saw in the reel, and I say minor because it was minor, was John Rhys Davies is back as Saw, and there is going to be some fun nostalgia points in this, no doubt. But the overall story is going to be, by Indy and clapped out of existence.
Well. Here's hoping it doesn't happen. But I can tell you how I felt when I saw the trailer. I know. I basically saw the same traits that they did in other trailers. Like, for instance, it's obvious they didn't want to show you Waller Bridge, whatever her name is.
Right.
Because if they did show a lot, we will know for sure that she is going to be one of those insufferable characters, which they displayed in every Disney movie so far. So they didn't do that. They focused on Indy doing action. There was some really horrible CGI as well on his face at one point.
Yes, I saw that when he's in the horse.
But all the red flags started coming up. Even the logo, they changed the logo, which I was like, what? And it's so obvious what's going to happen, And again, the drink is right. Why would you shoot at you wouldn't point your gun down if they dive down. You just shot at the glass. Do you know what I mean? It's just anyway, whatever.
There's also the aspect of it as well. The trailer, she's in it. Phoebe Waller-Bridge is in it, and they don't show any. And you're sitting there thinking, why? Because you would
why.
Yeah, of course you know why. Because it's a bait and switch.
Yeah.
Oh, come! Look, there's Harrison Ford. There's Indiana Jones. Right now, you're sitting down. Here's the one we want you to see. It's not. It's because they may get people in initially the first day, but as soon as people actually say, "No, that's not what it's about."
You see, Indiana Jones is a boy's own adventure, right? And you see, I remember I keep talking to Dan about this, and Dan keeps saying, "Oh no, blah blah." But look at what happened, right? They're trying to destroy the fathers in movies. They're trying to say that fathers are used in movies. Also trying to destroy our heroes. They killed Bond. Now they're going to kill Indiana Jones. Two of the most lucrative boys' own adventures.
Yeah,
they're trying to destroy men, as far as I can see.
Well,
there you go.
Look what else they've done. They basically turned Luke into a nobody.
Yeah.
Harrison Ford into an absent father who didn't care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just the same all the way around. That's why I don't watch any of the new stuff. I'll stick to the three Indiana Jones movies.
It's like they keep coming back.
No, I watched the rabbi this morning about that.
Yeah, but we don't know if this is true. This is the Sun.
We don't.
For God's
That's rumor mill stuff. But you never know. You never know with the big companies these days what kind of wonky stuff that they're going to do.
Yeah.
I don't, with Russell T Davies already at the helm and he's been, doing his bit for a while now. I don't know why they would inject her into the process. At this juncture.
Let me put it to you, right? This is what people don't understand, okay, right? Everybody's jumping up and down about RT taking over Doctor Who and stuff like that. But let's look at it in bits, right? BBC woke, right? Russell T gay. Russell T casts a gay doctor, right? Then the wokest company in entire world has part of that franchise now, which is Disney, right? Yep. Don't you see the pattern forming here?
Yeah,
I mean, it's as plain as day, but yet people want to ignore this fact. It's weird.
That's what I've been saying from the very beginning, when everybody says, "Oh, Russell T Davies coming back," and I says, "Well, you've heard them mouth off because he's very pro BBC. The BBC are woke, and they've given it to Disney as well, and then people are turning around saying it's going to be different. Really? It's going to be different from what you expect, but it's not going to be back to normal. It doesn't matter how much the new guy Shooty is portraying it, and how much the new Geralt's in is portrayed, because they're portraying him in the how this is what you're going to do. Because he sounds like a Doctor Who fan, as if he's looked at the role, but he's not writing it. No. We know who's writing it. He's just the actor who's going to say it. Doesn't matter. Peter Capaldi, big Doctor Who fan, probably loved the idea, and look what they did to him.
You're right, Archer.
A big Doctor Who fan.
Trying to get a word in.
A good actor.
Sounds like Darth.
Yeah, I thought you were Darth Vader at one point.
Don't know the power.
I'm seriously confused now. How is Phoebe Waller-Bridge going to be able to write for Doctor Who when she's the new Indiana Jones? Is she going to be able to do both at the same time?
But then again, you know what they say in Britain, Ian. I mean, you buy the Sun and you buy something to read.
Yeah, exactly.
So is since I stopped doing page 3?
Yeah, well.
Is the Sun your version of the Inquirer? Is that
well, not quite.
Not quite. They're not as good as the Inquirer.
Yeah.
What about the Daily Mail? Is that still the same?
Yes. Rubbish. They're both look. Nobody. Look. Only old people read newspapers. Okay. Unfortunately.
What about the Guardian?
They're all the papers are all
Guardian
tainted.
Is given away. It's basically the BBC are probably the biggest.
Oh, this is 2 years ago. Never mind.
Oh Lord.
No, that's
maybe that's what the Sun got a hold of. Was an article from 2 years ago.
Sorry,
or 5 years ago.
It's about right. And remember, the Sun. Let's put it this way: the Sun were the ones that basically published everything about Johnny Depp and took him at court, and he took them to court in the UK and lost. So,
Archer, there used to be a joke about the Guardian that it was spelt Gruadian because their spell checking was atrocious. Now it's just their facts are atrocious.
Yeah.
You see something in the Guardian, you go, okay, fine, ignore that.
I saw the trailer for Guardians of the Galaxy. That looks okay.
I didn't see it.
It looks all right.
I think it looks all right. It looks like it's going to be some emotional tugging because it's the last of the series and Gunn's exit from the MCU. He's the only good thing in the MCU right now.
Yeah.
So I thought it looked good. I think you're going to see the end of some characters, which is going to be sad.
Yeah,
I did enjoy the Christmas special.
Yeah, how are they going to end it?
I loved
it. How are
it.
they going to end the characters?
I think they're going to. I have a feeling about Rocket and Peter, but I don't know. Who knows? We do see Gamora in the trailer. What does that mean? Who knows?
This is Disney, so Peter's probably going to run off arm in arm with Thor. That's going to get rid of both of them.
Chris Hemsworth, to his credit, has said he is not playing Thor again until they fix the character. He is not happy with what Taika did, and I don't think anybody was happy with what Taika did. So there's that. On the positive note, though, the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special was awesome.
Yeah, it was fun.
I loved it.
Was fun.
I loved it. I loved every minute of it.
Haven't seen it yet.
I thought it was a laugh. I thought it was very good.
Yeah, it's worth your time, Father. I mean, it's.
I don't have
first of
Disney.
all,
We can fix
all
that.
Don't have.
Oh, I'm sure.
I don't have Netflix yet. Somehow I watch it. So, but it starts with the Pogues,
someone's got
which
password for
brought
it.
me in immediately. I was like, oh my god, they're playing the Pogues.
Yeah.
And the music in the episode is really for that song from the old 97s. I Don't Know What Christmas is a hoot. There's just a lot of fun moments. It's 40 minutes and it's a heart this big in the episode. I loved it.
The only thing I didn't like was the cartoon. I thought, well, they went
Really?
as far as to do the No, hold on. They went as far as to do the cartoon, but they could have literally got that guy in to play that character, and they could have just because the set wasn't. You know what I mean?
They did motion stuff over the actors. I don't know.
But why didn't they get him? Why didn't they get them in? Why was it a cartoon?
I think he wanted that nostalgia factor of old timey 70s stuff. Is my guess. Because if you see the stills, like the behind the scenes stuff, Michael Rooker he's not made up like Yondu, but he is in costume with the kid playing young Peter.
Yeah.
I like the cartoon stuff, but I'm a bit sappy. So what people always say about me, Roman, he's an old softie.
Wait a second. When you say they play the Pogues, do you mean they're actually playing Fairy Tale of New York?
Yes. Fairy Tale New York.
How the smeg can they manage to do that these days? They would have to change every damn word in it.
Well, they didn't play the whole song. They played the opener. They didn't get to that part.
Yeah.
But they have to change every word in it these days.
No, Archer. They didn't play the whole song. You know when the Marvel logo comes up, the Marvel logo, they played it over that, and so it wasn't the whole song. It kind of got cut off halfway.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Cut off just before it got rude. I see.
Yeah, that's right. Before they swore and all that.
Yes.
But yeah, no, I mean, as I said, what I really liked about the Christmas special was that it had heart, and you did feel a bit Christmassy and stuff like that. And it was nice. It was a nice little 45-minute piece, and the best thing about it was Mantis. I thought she carried the whole thing.
She was fantastic.
Yeah, she carried the whole thing. So it was good. It was good. It was worth your time if you haven't seen it. And I'll ooh it to you, Father, if you want.
Okay.
This might then actually be the first thing Marvel Phase 4 I've actually seen.
Oh, okay.
No, that's not true. I did watch WandaVision.
That was terrible.
This is the best thing. This is the best thing they've done since Endgame. Easily the best Marvel product since Endgame.
I think I'm seeing slight pattern here because I've seen one or two people at Critical Drink, I think, did a review of Andor, which I didn't see.
I watched that as well.
Saying it was the best. It was the best thing, just at a really bad time. It seemed so everything's gone down. Yeah. So they actually seem to have saved the stuff that's good for when they've got no audience left.
Yes. Well, and the problem with Andor. Go ahead, Peter. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that what I'd seen is they were saying Andor's good in comparison. So they're not saying it's good. They're just saying in comparison to what's out there. If we had it during the 70s and 80s when we had Star Wars, people would have been going, this is rubbish, this is boring, based on what we've had. But because all the stuff they've given us, it's the best thing they've put out.
See, I liked Rogue One as well, though, and this is easily the Rogue One world. It has that same feel. My problem with the show, and I've gone over this in my 12 hours of review, is the pacing of the show. That's the problem I have with the show. The plot, the story, all of that is very good. But man, the pacing, especially in the early episodes, and that's where they didn't get. First, they lost audience with Boba Fett. They lost more audience with Kenobi. And then they bring in this slow burner of a show, and people are like, no. And that's the way most audience members were. I stuck in there because I needed content. So
there's also people who are looking at it thinking, Andor, what's that? What is that? Who's in it? A secondary character? Don't know.
Well, it's funny. They should have called the show literally anything else, because Andor, for the 5 people who watched it, Andor was part of an ensemble. The world was going on around him, and on his own, he's not a very interesting character. He's just kind of there. He has his moments, but it's the world around him that was fascinating, and the stories around him that I thought were good. The ISB and all of that, I really enjoyed that stuff. So Like, is it going to ever take off? Probably not, because they killed it with the other stuff. That's Disney, though. That's Disney. Good product.
The thing is, though,
I have.
Andor should never have been made. The only reason why it was made is because the guy is from an ethnic minority group. That's the only reason why it was made, seriously. And the whole show is boring. I mean, who cares? Nobody in that episode, in that show was like the biggest crime they did was they didn't make it exciting. His character's not exciting. He's not Han Solo. He's not any character. He's dull. He's boring. Everybody around him is boring, and the action was dull. You know, I watched 3 episodes. That was enough for me.
The prison arc was really good. Did you get to the prison arc? Did you make
No,
it that
because I
far? A lot
stopped
of
after
people
3. I stopped after the 3rd episode.
That's where most people
Wasted my
died, is
time.
after 3.
Waste of my time. So why would you create a show that the first 3 episodes are dull as ditch water? Why would you do that? Why would you do that?
I can't answer that. I can't answer that. I agree that, like I said, pacing was the big problem, especially the early episodes, which is where, you know, other audience members are just like, you know, I'm done. So I do understand that sentiment. But,
yeah, but why
I will say that the later episodes were good. Why did they write it that way? I don't know.
I know why.
It would be better.
Well, look, they could have made Han Solo and Calrissian TV show. They could have done that, right? The reason why they're doing this is because, look, there's a rumor that they made it deliberately like that because Kathleen Kennedy wanted to say, look, this doesn't have any of the stuff that I want in it, yet it also failed. Do you know what I mean? That's one of the rumors, but we don't know if that's true or not.
I could buy that. She's horrible.
Yeah. I don't know if it's true or not. But why would you make a Star Wars show that moves like a snail? You wouldn't do that because that's not Star Wars. I mean, they talk about how serious the story is and world building and all that nonsense. But Empire Strikes Back did that the same, but they still had the fantastical element in it. They still have the sense of adventure, and it moved at a great pace. Empire Strikes Back it had the seriousness, but it also had the Star Wars adventure moving forward. Boys' own adventure. I like to keep saying that. Boys' own adventure. Yeah. None of the Star Wars that came after the real Star Wars has been a boys' own adventure. It's all about the feminist nonsense.
No,
That's
I
all it's
agree.
about.
I take it you didn't like Ocean's 8.
Yeah,
Ocean's 8 was rubbish. The only reason why I watched Ocean's 8 was because Sandra Bullock. It's the only reason why I watched it. I like Sandra Bullock. That's it.
Well, that's true. But remember as well, Disney was always a girls' company. It was all about princesses and stuff like that. Yeah. They brought in stuff to bring in boys. And then they changed it. So they brought in Marvel to have all for the boys. And then they changed them all to princesses. Really? You stick to your audience. The thing is, we say Disney was a girl thing. Hands up who watched Disney movies. We all did.
Yeah, we all did, yeah.
We all did, but we knew that it was a Disney. A lot of girls wanted, my 3 daughters, geeks like me, if I had taken them, they wanted to be Disney princesses. You wanted to go there and have, my mother and father loved Disney because my mum could be a Disney princess even when she had retired and went, she loved it because it was for girls. And my dad loved it because my mum enjoyed it, so he would enjoy it with her.
Look at Indiana Jones 5, right? They could have easily cast a sidekick that was a male next to Indiana Jones. They could have easily done that, like they did in the last rubbishy one. but they could have easily. It could have been a different mutt, couldn't it? You know, as Critical Drinker said, it could have been a different mutt. But they chose to go this way.
Yeah, and if they wanted to actually do a diversity thing, then. Look back into the Indiana Jones, there's 1 or 2 kids in them who would have been grown up, they would have been adults, they would have been diverse, and they could have people would have accepted it because Short Round.
It was never about diversity, right? It was never.
It's based on the fact is that's what they look at, but they could have gone and brought in Short Round.
Exactly.
Stuff like that. Then because he'd been with Indy.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what I'm saying. There is enough things in the background. If they wanted to go down a particular route, they could have gone down with them, but they didn't. They just wanted to change it all.
Somebody needs to explain to Kathleen Kennedy that the Force is a thing in Star Wars, not Lucasfilm. So the gender of the Force, if it has such a thing, is irrelevant to Indiana Jones. You don't have to make everything female because it's nothing to do with the Force.
Look, if you look, let's put it this way, right? As a Catholic, this is what I've got to say, right? If you're going to correct something that was wronged in the past, right, you have to correct it in such a way that people, it's an equal thing. If we, the Nazis tried to take over the world, right? The Germans tried to take over the World War II, right? We corrected it. We corrected it in a way that life is better for us than then. Instead of going, we're going to stop the Nazis and then we're going to do what the Nazis were doing and take over the world as well, right? And this is exactly what these people are doing, right? They don't want equality. They don't want diversity. No. They want power. That's the problem. That's all they want.
They want
in media and in the world. It's ridiculous.
So do we bring up Kanye?
Oh God, no! Don't bring him up. Yeah, I don't know.
Remember Father Miller? He was a good man. He had a fine show.
Yes. The Disney princess thing got me thinking of this one.
Please tell me that Kanye's middle name isn't Kevin, because I couldn't put up with 2 KKs in the world.
Oh God! Oh no, that's horrible. That's horrible.
Oh, that's terrible.
That could have happened though, couldn't it? That could have, when she was running away after the clock was ticking, she could have just tripped over a step and then boom. But that could have happened.
That did, and we did show the Drinker's Razor earlier. But the one thing I was going to ask: has anybody seen this from Netflix?
No,
I saw the trailer for it.
But did you see the article?
Is this season 2?
No, this is season 1. I never heard of it till recently.
No,
this was out ages ago, was it not?
2020.
Yeah, it was out ages ago.
Even heard of that. I don't know what that's about. I'm assuming it's about space travel and a family getting into space.
It's basically about swapping the genders again. That instead of a man going up to space and the woman dealing with her family below, they took the woman and send her up to space, and now the man has to deal with the family below. So I don't want to watch stuff like that at all.
Ian, if you want to watch stuff like that, there was something. It was the alternate history one, the one that Alec had.
Oh yeah, I don't want to watch that either. I'm sorry.
That's actually okay because it's a completely alternate history. They've basically shown it, and just they did something which has got knock-on effects. And it works within the show, but they don't actually. Everything's female, and the males are bad. The males are just a strong male character.
Yeah, for all mankind.
All mankind.
Yeah,
I love that show. Season 3, but seasons 1 and 2 were
very
awesome.
good. But it's the fact is, all they did was, what would have happened if the modern sensitivity with males and females working together was pushed back 50 years and it happened then. That's all they've done. And actually, so the males and females, yes, there's a lot more females in charge, but they don't actually degrade the male characters. The male characters are still strong. They're still heroic, but the female characters are stronger and heroic as well.
I did want to play this real quick.
Go on in. Thunderbirds.
From All Mankind.
Thunderbirds.
Uh-huh.
No, this is Captain Scarlet, isn't it? Captain Scarlet. Is that the angel?
No, they're not angels. The angels are female in both generations.
Okay. This is bad effects. You can tell these.
But I love the way it's reacting.
Oh dear, oh dear.
Yeah. I think I told you say something, PJ. Actually, it just occurred to me. You saying that about pushing modern sensitiveness back.
Yeah. In effect, it's the same. There you go. You've got two male fighter pilots, and they're basically, pilots, and they fly over our house, and she's just typical. Boys, Daddy's home. Because it's not being derogatory about it. You don't suddenly see female pilots at the same time. They show them being introduced and how there's still people think, nah, but they push it a wee bit. And they even actually get the part where the first Russian female astronaut. So what did the Americans do? The first black
Knee-jerk.
female astronaut because it's optics, and they basically show how they're basically pushing
Don't care, PJ. I don't care. This was made for a reason, and you know what the reason is. So I have no interest in this show whatsoever.
But
So I don't care how good they do it. It should never have been made.
The thing is, it's done. It's not as if it's actually they've corrected things. All they've done is just saying
Doesn't matter.
It was a what if, and then what if it was done well.
Right, let's have a look at the pattern. Indiana Jones goes back in time to erase himself, to basically put a woman in charge. This show goes back in time to erase history, to show a woman in charge. It's the same thing. What are we talking about here? Doesn't matter how good they do it.
I think the interesting thing is actually just occurred to me when PJ was saying that actually what for all mankind actually does is it shows up all the modern things, because it's deliberately within the show. It's very deliberately done for political purposes.
Yeah,
I'm not saying the show's done for political purposes. I'm saying all the quote woke unquote things are done for political purposes.
Yes,
and our
they
show has been done for political purposes.
Yeah, they basically, as I said, they actually show within the show that the only reason this happened is because politically it looks good. So they're actually introducing them and actually saying this is the way things are done. But the way they got away with it is pushing it back.
It's still the same thing, though. It doesn't matter how you dress it up. It's the same thing. It's about women being in front and first woman on the moon, put her foot on the moon. It's all bollocks. It's under the disguise of what the political air is today. And you fell for it. You two fell for it.
No,
shame on you. And you.
I like it too.
I've said all the way through. I've said all the way through. Everyone.
I'm joking, of
people. I like the show, but I'm still not sure if it's woke or not because of the way they've.
I won't watch it.
Well,
I think it is woke, but they've done it in such a way that within the show, the woke is sort of. It shows. I wouldn't say woke done right. It shows progression done right.
That you just said the word woke.
It's woke. It's woke meta in some ways. Yeah.
I don't know. I things like that don't interest me.
Yeah. Anyway, what I was getting
the puppy.
Yay! Look at the puppy.
So he can't be. He hears voices who needs to be up, whereas this one's sleeping, so he's actually ignoring everybody. Isn't that right, Ben?
Aww.
But what I was going to say, the article I saw, which it reminded me of For All Mankind, that's why I brought it up, was they're talking about any flight in the future when they're trying to go to another planet. Yeah. It may take a year and a half, and what they're going to do is make it an all-female crew because they don't want the astronauts to have sex. You know? Yeah, exactly. And that's what somebody had put on the article was, if they've been watching TV recently, in effect, it's if they put an all-male crew, they can say the same thing, or an all-female crew, same thing, but they're implying
you can cheat.
No, apart from they're saying is,
no, you can cheat because now trans is considered a man. They could put a woman who put him. Look at Roman.
The fact is, they're saying that was the reason. And the reason's been void. The only way you could do that is send one person. And even then,
I don't care.
This is 2022. The only way to guarantee they do not have any sex is for the entire crew to be heterosexual. That's the only way, because these days that's not allowed.
I don't care anymore. I really don't. Don't care.
The thing Seriously. Is, if you had somebody like this on the Mars,
there you go. There you go.
I don't think that's going to be a problem.
See, PJ, that's what you're encouraging, mate. All-female crew. There you go.
Basically, what the Democrats are doing over there the Labour Party are trying to do here with Eddie Izzard.
Ah,
That guy actually makes me amazed that you guys haven't had any nuclear meltdowns recently.
It
He's in charge of
it
your
got
nuclear
fired.
program.
It's no longer the
Yeah, I
employee of
saw
the government.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they found out. That's why, because it got exposed. That's why.
Oh,
Do you know what,
And
man?
then
Just
off with
changing the
you.
subject slightly.
Please.
I've been watching the Bond films. Like I've started from Doctor No, and I'm up to Thunderball. Actually, no, I'm up to Thunderball. I'm up to Thunderball, and so I'm going to watch all of them, but I'm not going to watch the last one. I'm what you call it. I want to watch Quantum of Solace again because I only watched it once in the cinema, and somebody said to me they watched it again and they thought it wasn't too bad the
I
second time
actually
round.
like Quantum of Solace.
It's the shortest one, isn't it? The shortest
Context,
film.
It's an actual sequel, and you have to watch it as an actual sequel, not a standalone film, because it's not. If you watch it as a standalone film, it doesn't make any sense. I do like its portrayal of the environmentalists as the bad guys. I found that, very heartwarming. And I actually liked the treatment of Bond and M and the characters. And the end scene in the big environmental friendly hotel that blows up. Spoilers. It's, if you haven't seen it in the last
you had a
15
few years.
I found the entire film to be very enjoyable. And it's a good Bond arc from where he is starting, in a very bad spot, and his arc through that at the end.
The one thing I've noticed though, through all the Bond films I've seen so far, again, Thunderball, they're all their third acts are terrible. Their third acts are all awful. They really are. I mean, if you think, all right, say, let's take Spy Love Me, for instance, right? You remember the beginning. You remember the Lotus. You remember Jaws. But when it came to the ending, the climax was so lame. He comes in, he shoots Stromberg, rescues, has a little fight with Jaws, and then gets out because the thing was sinking. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't like True Lies. Do you remember the third act of True Lies? Where he was on the Harriet and, and it was like really spectacular and stuff. And then he rescues his daughter and all that stuff. And that was really great third act. But James Bond films never have a good third act for some reason.
I thought the third act of Quantum was good. There's an axe fight. Everybody likes an axe fight.
I've never watched any Daniel Craig's Bond stuff.
I don't blame you.
The first thing I heard was they're trying to be more realistic. And I thought, I don't want to watch realism. If I want to watch realism, I'll watch the BBC. Well,
what were you going to say, Father? What were you going to say?
Oh, I said Spyfall, but then the other one that came to mind was on Her Majesty's Secret Service, the bobsledding part.
But that wasn't was that the
But
climax?
that's Bond.
Yeah, was that the
That's
climax?
that's where Blofeld gets it.
Gets on his neck. Yeah.
I mean, it's not the end, but it's the climatic end.
Yeah, but remember, Bond always had a Bond with a beautiful woman at the end. That was always the climax. So they had to, no matter what, they had to have
For him, it was.
And then it was,
Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Except that Her Majesty's Secret Service, kind of a downer there.
Yeah, the only one that does have a happy ending.
Yeah, but the thing is, most Bonds, they always had it. The third end was actually had to calm it down. They always did that. So it's a cheesy Bond, which made it great because it was escapism. Yeah, we all want to be, as I say, they all want to be Bond. All women want to have Bond. And it's
I don't know. It said that I've been watching all of them. The third acts are always a letdown. They're not, as I said, if you watch something like True Lies or some other, like the Bourne films and stuff, they always have a really good third act. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about it. I'll keep watching it. I said, go Thunderball I'm up to now, so I'm going to just go for all of them.
See, I don't think they ever. The way I've always watched Bond movies, the end has never been the climax of the show.
No, it has never. No, that's what I'm saying.
It was always the part where Bond finished whatever it was and ended up with the woman at the end. And it was the be jokey bit at the end.
Yeah.
George Lazenby.
This never happened to the other fella.
You see, do you know what? You see, everybody keeps saying, "Oh, he broke the fourth wall." He did not break the fourth wall. He wasn't even looking at us. He was looking elsewhere when he said it. Yeah,
that's the type of thing you would say is but the things you would say if something happened, if somebody says, if you go down there, you'll get that. You go down there and it doesn't happen, you would say, he said it would. Nobody meant it. You just talk to yourself, and I don't think he broke the fourth wall.
No, I don't think he did.
Still
either.
my favorite theme.
It is, yeah, mine too. It's an incredible theme.
Not only that, but I think that was it wasn't breaking the fourth wall. It was a deliberate, I suspect, a deliberate acknowledgement of the fact that they changed actor. And I'm not really saying you sound terrible. I think the last Bond movie I saw this cinema, I remember seeing it in the cinema, it just goes way back, was Never Say Never Again. I saw that.
That's not a real Bond film.
No, I saw that at the cinema, came back home, and Thunderball was on the TV. And
Thunderball's great.
Movie.
Yeah.
I've seen this. Yeah. I'm contemplating, but I got back, and you get back and switch on the TV, and there's Thunderball, and it's quite clear it's exactly the same film.
They're really. I mean, like for instance, Spy Love Me. I consider Spy Love Me a work of art. To tell you the truth, every time I watch that film, and I've watched it recently, and people may scoff, but it is a work of art because if you listen to what's happening and everything, it was. I mean, even the cheesy one-liners are things that you remember from Spy Love Me. Do you know what I mean? It's just, as far as I'm concerned, some of the Bond films are really a work of art if you look closely.
I will say, Roman might agree with me, but I miss these member berries when it used to air.
The distance. How far do you go? Nobody goes.
You mean the
Thunderball. Friendly direction advised.
The single
some of the funniest one-liners I still remember. Things like, how do you look? Says, as long as the collar's and cuff match. And you're sitting there thinking, we know what he's talking about.
But who said that then?
Sean Connery. It was
Sean Connery.
It was basically the girl had the hair. She had a wig, and then when they got in, she took the wig off and she was blonde.
Oh, that was Diamonds Are Forever.
She says, do you mind? He says, as long as collars and cuffs.
Yeah.
Basically, he's effectively saying, doesn't matter as long as it matches.
This is how artistic James Bond is, right? So, Spy Love Me. If you don't remember that scene where M comes through his door and says, "Moneypenny, where's Bond?" And Moneypenny says, he's on a mission, and then M says, "Well, tell him to pull out immediately." And then the next shot is him having sex with the girl. That's the genius of Bond, right? That's the genius of Bond. Come on,
like Moonraker. What is he doing? Q, look at the radar. I think he's attempting re-entry Prime Minister.
I mean, that's the genius of Bond. That was Roger Moore, right? That was the Roger Moore era.
It was.
And as far as I'm concerned, it's a beautiful thing because it's not taking itself seriously.
No.
It's funny. It's funny. And also, it gives you everything you want in the film. You know, it has action, it has comedy, it has beautiful women, it has beautiful scenery. You know, the visual effects are top notch. You know what I mean? It's just Bond films are one of a kind, in my opinion. You know, and a lot of other films copied it, and that's why I think it should be in the museum. Spy Love Me should be in a museum. That's what it should be because it's a work of art. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I saw in the chat, Mr. R says Thunderball's his second favourite after Casino Royale. The thing is,
which one?
The thing is, Casino Royale with David Niven.
Yes,
it's terrible.
It's basically it is a parody of Bond, but using Bond. They're not actually using them James Blonde just to actually get away from that. It's James Bond, so it's basically using all the Bond. It's using the same idea. It's a Bond movie. It might be a farce, but it's in a comedy. Woody Allen's in it, and I still enjoy that better than anything. It's because it's a fun one.
Even in this film, when he's thrown the dice, and he says, she says she's plenty of two, and then he says, "Of course you are." Do you know what I mean? Even that's funny as far as I'm concerned. I mean, it's just cheesiness.
Is I think my least favorite Bond movie.
I was going to say, can you imagine a character called Pussy Galore these days?
I know.
I didn't like that one.
I didn't either. It was okay though.
Yeah, but the
I
character
actually
names,
like.
you had the character names, and there's character names never going to be repeated.
Oh no, I love that aspect of just the
Yeah.
Bond films in general. The funny names
Yeah.
for the female
was-
characters.
What was that? It was,
But Diamonds, I didn't like the Timothy Dalton era at all. But I liked it better than Diamonds. But that's not saying a whole lot.
Yeah.
And then I didn't watch any of the Pierce Brosnan films because I didn't care anymore.
Mm.
I do like the Daniel Craig films. I did not like. I didn't like. Help me, Spectre. I thought was terrible. And then the last one I didn't.
You should
prefer
watch
either.
you should watch Tomorrow Never Dies, which is a Pierce Brosnan one. That is the most Bond film ever. It's
Is
so
that the one
Bond.
with Sean Bean in it?
No, yes,
No, that's
no, that's
GoldenEye.
GoldenEye.
Okay,
Watch-
I know
watch-
he's in it. I just
Yeah.
So Tomorrow Never Dies.
Tomorrow Never Dies is really good. It has a really terrific beginning and it has a really good car chase in it. It's a really good, solid Bond movie, apart
See
from the
the one-
climax.
See the one with Sean Bean? Is that the one that's got Alan Cummings as well?
yes.
Yeah,
Actually, no, is
GoldenEye.
it? I know Alan Cummings was in Goldeneye. Was Sean Bean in?
And
Yeah,
also,
When
The
they
scenes
affect
with
Joel
Q,
Arecibo.
the scenes with Q in Tomorrow Never Dies is absolutely priceless. Absolutely priceless. It takes you right back to Sean Connery era and the Roger Moore era. And the thing about Pierce Brosnan was that he basically was channeling his Sean Connery and Roger Moore. So if you to describe the Pierce Brosnan Bond, it would be a mixture between Sean Connery and Roger Moore. And it was a perfect mixture, especially in Tomorrow Never Dies. I thought it was a terrific Bond film, but you know.
I think I'll need to go through them all again. It's been
Yeah,
a while.
I'm going through them now. Yeah.
I don't know why I missed that era completely. I just did. It was just like, I'd lost interest after the Timothy Dalton debacle.
Yeah. I think Timothy was okay.
I think I've seen them all except the last one. Can't remember much.
Don't see the last one. The last one was awful. It just goes to show you can't trust the critics. The critics were going, "Oh, this is the best Bond." It's not. It's absolute
the
nonsense.
critics.
Story doesn't make any sense. The story doesn't
Ian-
make any sense.
Yeah, as
Ian,
soon as
look-
a critic says it's the best thing ever, you know it's rubbish because
Exactly,
they've been saying things have been the best thing ever since.
Mm.
You can
Yeah.
trust the critics. You can trust the critics implicitly. If they say it's good, ignore it.
Yeah, exactly.
They really,
Exactly.
It's like until recently the furry blue check mark on Twitter. Fine, if it's a blue check mark, I can safely ignore it.
It's the
Funny.
same idea. People think
don't do
that because we don't listen to critics, we don't listen to other critics, as in on YouTube. There's certain people, but there is people we listen to that we don't agree with. When they've seen a movie, they don't like it, or
Yes.
they've seen a movie and really like it, and you're sitting there thinking, I hated that movie. But just because they disagree with you certain things, they still tell you what the movie's about, and they might say, "Yeah, and I really liked it, but it's
Yeah.
got this problem with it and that problem with it." But it wasn't a major issue with me. Whereas you could watch it and really hate it, but it doesn't mean you wouldn't go back to their channel because at least you know that they're giving you what their honest opinion of it. It
Yeah,
doesn't
they're not
matter.
getting paid for their opinion.
Yeah, exactly. They're giving you
I
a
know.
honest opinion.
Hey, say something nice about my movie, please.
Yeah, like I'm when I was at college or when I was at this place where I was trying to learn how to make films, and in those days, right, I couldn't afford to go to film school, so the government sent me to this place where they were teaching video production, basically. So
We
anyway,
called it Postal.
yeah, I think so.
It
But,
must have been a good school. It was approved.
But what was I going to say is that I was with kids who were really into movies, and I remember once I was having lunch with them, and they were talking about Big Blue and 2001: A Space Odyssey, and I said I don't like 2000: Space Odyssey, and it was like I said something really bad, and they all looked
I
at
agree
me.
with you in that one. I don't.
And then they goes to me, "What films do you like?" And I said, "Star Wars, Close Encounters," and they still looked at me like I was something came out their bum or something like that. Do you know what I mean? And it's really weird how people, because like 2001 is a well accomplished movie, but it's boring.
Yeah,
It's
that's the thing.
boring.
Yes.
The score from it is great. Even for me, who doesn't like I don't care about the music in movies because it's just part of the atmosphere. I don't really bother about it. I don't even notice it, and if I don't notice it, that means it worked.
Mm.
But it's still the title music for it It's fantastic. But yeah, it is so boring sitting watching it.
You guys are like you're like a cat who needs a string. It's not always about fast, shiny objects, man.
That's not what I'm saying.
Like 2001, I like the movie up until the third act, and then for me, as soon as he goes into the obelisk and everything gets weird, that's where my interest wanes. But I actually like the journey up to that point.
See, I find the journey when I'm watching it, I'm sitting there going, and if a movie doesn't keep me interested, and I like a lot of movies, I know you think particularly are a load of rubbish, but I'm not mentioning any names.
It's a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful thing that PJ, Roman, and Archer and Father, we can all, talk about movies and we all have a different view of what we see in movies. And I think that's a terrific thing. But a lot of people see it differently, where they take it as an insult if you don't like their films or don't like their stuff. It's really weird.
That's silly.
It is.
If we all like the same thing, what would be the point to having a conversation?
I've always said that if we all liked the same thing, there would be one band, there would be one movie, there would be one, and it's literally, how boring would that be? You look at Gemini on my channel, anytime these two are brought up, Spider-Man and Venom, we have a go at each other about it because we've got totally different opinions of Venom and Spider-Man.
Let me ask you guys a question, right? What is the one film that everybody, or the majority of people, don't like that you like? Is it a guilty pleasure sort of thing? What is the film? What is the one film that that everybody says it's rubbish, but you somehow like it?
Star Trek: The Motion Picture. Nobody likes that movie. I
don't like it. Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it.
I've never thought about it because I don't even bother. I know I like a lot of classics, and people just actually look at me when I see them. Things like I like White Christmas because it's my Christmas movie. I like this, and they just look as if to say. But it's most of the time, it's not a case of it's a guilty pleasure. Most people just don't know the movies I'm talking about. Because I like old movies.
Because you're old, mate.
See, this great stuff. This is not talcum on my beard.
Okay, so I'm going to show you a trailer for one that I think is. Roman might remember this, maybe not.
Meet America's newest superhero, David Speed. Super Fuzz.
Oh, I remember this.
He's a whiz in the pool hall.
This is Terence Hill, isn't it? Terence Hill.
Do you know, I was talking to my friend who is Italian, and then we were talking about Bud Spencer and Terence Hill, and he says, "Do you know about them?" I says, He says he thought they were only an Italian thing. And it was only recently when he was in different countries, and they've got statues of them.
Yeah,
from the Trinity movies and stuff like that. He says he didn't realise how popular they were outside Italy.
Is Bud Spencer still alive? Does anyone know? I know Terence Hill died, but I think Bud Spencer's still alive.
Terence Hill died?
Yeah, he died.
I thought it was Bud Spencer.
He died. Terence Hill died a couple of years ago, I think. Am I wrong?
No,
is he still alive?
Because he plays. There's an Italian show that he's in where he plays a priest. That's like a Father Dowling type.
What about Bud Spencer? Is he still alive? I think one of them died, right?
He passed. I'm sure.
Yeah, one of them died.
All right, I'm just checking it just now.
Yeah.
Terence Hill is still living.
Right.
83 years old. It's Don Matteo that he's in. The problem is they don't have the English translation of it.
Well, you can always use Google Translation.
But
I mean, is Bud Spencer still alive?
I don't think so. I'm sure he passed a few years back.
Do you know how I got to know them in the 70s? Right, the flea pit cinemas around, because they never used to have Cineworld or anything like that. Where I lived, they used to have flea pit cinemas. There are two where I lived: the Ruby and the Granada. And the Ruby used to show double bills. And so they'd show Spider-Man, I don't know, what is it? Spider-Man and a Chinese Dragon Challenge or whatever it is. And they put a Bud Spencer and Terence Hill together with it. Watch Out, We're Mad was one of them. And I went to see Watch Out, We're Mad.
That's the one that I've been told to watch because...
Yeah, it's very funny.
The Italian one says it is the best of the...
Yeah, it is. And that's how I got to know them. So once I watched one film, I'll seek them out. I was like, I've got to see more films with them.
I know the one that I mentioned.
It was the Trinity ones for me. It got
All right.
The one that I mentioned, I know I showed Ian the trailer. I don't think I could do it again. Is the boss N-word
Oh, right. Yeah.
Bud
Yeah.
Spencer died.
with Fred Williamson in it? It actually is quite fun.
It
Yeah.
is fun.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Bud Spencer passed away in 2016.
Right. So I knew one of them had gone. I just wasn't sure which one. But they were some of the biggest stars in the world, and yet nobody remembers them apart from us. They really were huge at one point. You don't know who they are, Roman?
Oh,
No.
Roman.
Oh,
I know. I'm sorry.
Roman,
all right.
do you like westerns? do you like a western?
I like some westerns. That's the. I'm not. It's not my preferred genre, but I do like some. I like the Clint Eastwood westerns.
Right, well,
I do enjoy
spaghetti
those.
westerns. Look at They Call Me Trinity.
Yeah.
The
actually,
Trinity's
the one
Call
I'm
My
going to
Name.
bring up.
Those are
They Call Me
two of
Trinity.
their best western comedies, but they do that. That's another one. No, the name
Henry
the
Fonda.
Is that James Gardner?
It's Henry Fonda.
Henry
yeah.
Fonda.
Oh, Henry Fonda.
He was in with that. He was called Nobody, or was it My Name Is Nobody, or Nobody Is
Yeah.
My Name?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a good one as well. And he plays he plays along his Trinity character very
Yeah, it
similar.
does. Yeah.
So it is. But
But
the Trinity's to me is their best movie. It's only for the simple fact is that's the one I first saw.
Yeah. But they it's very slapstick, you know. They always have fights in their movies, and Bud Spencer was, you know, almost indestructible. If anyone hit, and it never affects him. He used to throw people around and stuff. And it was, as a kid, when you used to see that, you used to think,
Fun to
"Wow, this
watch.
is so fun," you know.
Yeah,
And that's what you know.
They're fast drawing as well.
Yeah,
The two of them, the
yeah.
right and the left hand of the devil, and the two
Yeah.
of them are a pair of crooks.
Yeah, I mean, they were the Italian. Maybe Lauren Hardy, kind of, sort of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, they were a lot of fun.
Fascinating.
Yeah,
The
you
good
can look them up. They're on YouTube.
Okay.
They're on YouTube. So
Actually, I've on my channel, I've got a few clips from theirs on Mix as well because I really love the Trinity stuff.
yeah, I mean, one of my favorite films that people don't really rate is Capricorn 1. I really like that.
I
film
love
for some
Capricorn
reason.
1.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
thought Capricorn 1 was an okay movie.
I liked
one
it
of my
a lot.
favourites, but it was an okay movie. One of my guilty pleasures is it's the TV show, and it's Voyager, and it's the only reason it's a guilty pleasure is I hate every character in it bar one, and I still really, really enjoy the show.
Mm.
I still enjoy
That's
watching
funny.
it, although I hate that character. And grumpy old man sits down. Right, here we go.
But you guys don't know a show called Psych. Does anyone know a
I've
show?
heard of it.
Yeah,
I saw the
That
first
show is
series.
amazing.
I
That
love
show
Psych.
is so funny, right? Every episode I watch of Psych, I always end up laughing. And you know how hard it is to laugh at a show these days? That
Yeah.
show is so... I mean, the guy who plays Sean Spencer, he's hilarious. And plus,
His sidekick is
Yeah.
absolutely
well, he's not
hilarious.
psychic, actually.
Well,
But,
but he always
best-
refers to him as his sidekick. It's his friend who he
yeah,
keeps
yeah.
dragging
Oh,
in.
yeah. But the
I
best
can't-
thing
I can't-
about it, Roman and everybody else, is that Sean, right, is like us. He's a geek. So every time he investigates it, he always mentions some 80s film or there's a joke with, and and it got so famous that they got all these 80s people in it. They had Ralph Macchio was in one episode, and you know,
yeah.
the people from the Breakfast Club were in it at one point. You know what I mean? All playing different characters. It was great, absolutely great. This is was it Naked Gun? No, Police Squad.
No. Yeah.
Police Squad. Yeah, Police Squad.
Oh.
A show with only 6 episodes and it's still
Idiot.
It's a long time since I've seen Psych, and I can't remember which character was which. But what got me, first thing I noticed about that was that the Dule Hill, the colour character, I watched that just after I'd finished watching The West Wing, and the character was so different to Charlie.
Yeah,
in the
he
West
is. Yeah.
Wing, and he was so good in both.
If you know, if you ever get a chance, watch Psych. Psych is amazing. I think Psych is amazing.
basically the premise of Psych is a guy whose dad is a police officer.
Policeman, yeah.
Basically taught him to be observant since he was a kid.
Very
He
observant.
would test them and everything as they were growing up. And if he didn't get it right, he wouldn't get ice cream and stuff
Cake
like that.
yeah.
So basically,
Yeah.
training him. So as he's grown up, he's just a destructive personality. He basically just constantly takes the mick out of everything.
Yeah, everything and
And then
everyone.
he gets arrested because he solved a crime while watching the TV.
TV, yeah.
And they basically arrest him thinking he must know about it because he gave them all the clues. And he says, no, the reason I found out is because I'm a psychic. And
Yeah, he lies to get out of it.
He
Yeah.
lies to get out of it. So they
Yeah.
keep and hiring them in because they think he's a psychic. It helps.
Yeah.
I must remember, I'm not sure how much I saw. How many seasons was it? I'm just bloody hell. 2006.
I watched all this every episode, and I
And
think
it's
every
an
episode's
American
well
show
written.
or a British show?
Yes, it's an American
No.
show. Used to be on
USA.
US. Is it USA?
Yeah.
It used to be on
That
that.
would be why I have no idea what it is. Okay.
Yeah,
Eight
you should-
seasons,
you should watch it.
121 episodes. Wow.
Yeah.
It was really
Yeah,
successful, and it was and as I said, it's the only show that I can sit there and laugh and hold my stomach and laugh, and it's just so funny.
Yeah, completely right. I like a lot of American comedies, and I can sit back and enjoy them and put them on, and
Yeah.
I can do other things because they're humorous. But as soon as Psych's on, yeah, and that's it. And basically, I can't do anything while I'm watching Psych because of all this silliness, the
Yeah.
cleverness as well on it. It's
Yeah.
just one of these things. And by the way, Snortopoopus, you would be wrong if you're trying to guess which character in Voyager I like. Because it ain't Jerry Ryan.
Probably not my favorite character then, because I have a favorite
it's-
character too.
I've got a favorite character.
Oh, Rimmerworld.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta play a little bit of it.
Yeah, I love that episode, but
That's when he left, though, wasn't it? That's when he left. He left the show.
Well, that
because he
was
wanted
to do the
be a
British
movie
Empire, I
star.
believe.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, he left
No,
to
that
be a
was
movie
to
star.
do the movie. That was to
Yeah.
do that movie.
Yeah.
Where
It
he
was
he
Tomb Raider. He did
I was saying,
Tomb
he was in
Raider.
the Tomb Raider. He was in the two Tomb Raiders because he was the butler.
Yes,
Never
he was.
saw it.
Yeah.
He was
with Angelina Jolie.
Mr. Rimmer, we are what we see. It's gorgeous, what you've ever seen. We perform rounds and duets times two. This barbershop quartet is singing for you. That is entertainment in your gut.
I'm as confused as there.
Craig Charles got bigger and bigger as the show went on. he's like, "Bleh."
I'm just going to have to bring my hollow self on.
So I actually, during Dan's stream, I ended up buying the box set of Red Dwarf 1 through 8 on eBay
All right.
for $35.
If is that see that box set 1 to 8? Is that the one that's just got the episodes? There's no extras at all.
It's whatever the big box set was.
Because I bought the box set and it's got all 8 seasons.
But I'll be honest, I don't need the extras.
in it.
I don't really need the
actually-
extras.
I ended up buying all of them individually because they had a lot of extras with them. So I've got the box set, but I've got them all individual as well.
Well, I mean, over here, to buy the box set new is going to be at least 130. So to get it for $35, I'm not upset.
Yeah, I know. That's what I did. I had the box set, and then I realized that there was a lot of extras out there for Red Dwarf. So I bought them all individually.
See, the one I want to get, you can't get over here, is the British Empire.
Oh, British Empire is superb.
They don't
funny.
have that available in our region.
You can watch it on Britflix, can't you?
BritBox, yeah. That's how I
BritBox,
discovered
whatever
it.
Yeah.
It's very funny. Very, very funny.
Except for the
My
last
BritBox
episode.
expires this month.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
does it?
I asked Chris Barry when he was at Comic Con if they're going to do another British Empire. He says they're always in production for it, but they can never get everything together.
Well, it's completely bald now, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yep.
So, but the thing
Oh,
is,
yeah.
all the characters have now aged out. So that was what 6 years ago, and he says they've been talking about it for the last 5 years, but they just could never get all the cast or the writers or they just can't get it all together. And that, and he says they're constantly hoping, but he's unlikely to happen.
I just don't see how they could do more Red Dwarf now that everybody's aged.
Well, they have. They did the last one where was the
Promised
Tom
Land.
and Dave, wasn't
Promised
it?
Land,
Aye.
yeah.
Promised Land.
Promised Land was the last one.
But I
don't
mean,
see
even
them
then, you
doing
can
any
tell
more.
that they had aged.
Yeah, and also the fact is, see, the thing is, you can still do it as age because they're on the ship and yeah, they can age and stuff like that. So it's when they try and make them look younger for some reason, you can have them aged because they're meant to be the only four going through air, through space. Does it matter if they age with the rest of us? It's when they try and make them up to look younger.
Like Indiana Jones 5.
Yeah. But yeah, you know what, right? Do they? So the question I want to ask is, did they do the aging on Harrison Ford? Because they had the same problem doing that with the Martin Scorsese film. So when they did
The Irishman?
The
Irishman. So
when
they did,
my V chip almost failed. That was so
yeah.
bad.
So when they did the aging on them, you can still tell they were old men because when the way they were walking and stuff. So is it going to be the same with Harrison?
I imagine
Ford?
it will. Because Harrison Ford, I mean, you've seen him run in Blade Runner.
Yeah.
Harrison Ford does not run well because
No, he doesn't.
he's an ancient. He's an octagon or whatever they call
Well,
it.
what was it he broke during the filming of this? He
His,
broke a hip,
ankle?
wasn't it?
Oh, hip.
Nothing would surprise me.
That caused 6 month delay on.
Oh gosh! So you just got 6 months older. You know, you guys were talking about the
Pineapple pizza, no question.
Pineapple pizza.
every day.
You could actually say I had a choice with anything or pineapple pizza, and I'll always take pineapple pizza. I love pineapple pizza.
What were you going to say, Roman? What were you going to say?
Oh, back to the Indiana Jones sidekick issue. You know, you had the girl. You could have had a younger male like they did in the last one, which was terrible. Also, I would say none. I don't like a sidekick. I don't prefer a sidekick. Indy and Sala off on adventure in their later years, I'd be down with that.
Yeah, so would I.
Yeah. It would be more like Time Team than Indiana Jones, but yeah.
The really stupid thing is that we all know, real well, that Harrison Ford is getting too old to be an action character.
Well, he was too old when they did the last one.
Yeah, but no, what I'm saying is we could accept. Yeah, okay, so fine. So if we want that idea to continue, that story to continue, he has to pass the torch on. There's nothing wrong with that. We've seen it all before.
Doesn't have to do that.
No,
he doesn't have to do that.
Oh, no. So no, it doesn't have to. What I'm saying is, if you want it to continue, if you're happy with it,
if you wanted to continue to cast somebody else as Indiana Jones, you wouldn't go down. Yeah,
do period things from World War II or earlier or whatever. There are a lot of actors who could pull this off and do a good
But
job.
the thing is, if you want to continue on, we use things being passed up. This is not a problem. To be quite honest, I would have this day and age. I would probably not have any real problem with saying, okay, so the next person is going to be a female. I've grown up with, for example, Tomb Raider. The problem is we know the way it's going to be done, and we know the reason it's going to be done. It's the same with Doctor Who. We all know the reason Jodie Whittaker was cast, and it was nothing to do with story.
I gotta say,
Sorry,
Bruce
I can't help that.
Oh yeah,
Bruce Campbell as an 80-year-old Elvis is more believable than Harrison Ford running.
Yes,
yeah.
Father, I accept that premise. Yes,
I accept that premise. Bruce Campbell is anything is always better.
But you know what?
I actually seen him live.
Go
ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. All jokes aside, Harrison Ford does look good for 80. He does.
Well,
That's what money does.
Yeah,
exactly.
I was watching someone earlier on today doing the review of I honestly can't remember who it was, of the trailer, and they were saying that the CGI is that bad that where he's riding a horse, they're not sure if it's Harrison Ford or and the clip was, the head doesn't even look like it's This thing's the same fitted probably for the body. Is that the CGI? Is that bad?
Yeah, but remember, right? This is one of those. They're still editing the film.
Yeah,
So they
no,
pick the
yeah.
good. Yeah, they pick the bits that they could make you excited about. So maybe that CGI is not finished.
Are you
Who
excited,
knows?
Ian? Are
Yeah,
you
No.
excited?
No.
I'm not excited. They
Not
didn't
at
do a
all.
good job
The
getting
thing
me
is-
excited.
But the thing is, see when they say things like it's not there, the CGI is not finished, then don't put the trailer out.
Yeah.
If
No,
you're
no,
not
they have
finished
to.
the movie, don't put your trailer out.
No,
Don't
no, you
back the
have to.
trailer.
You have to, because you have to promote the film. This is where the promotion starts from this point.
Yeah.
So you have to well in advance before the film was released. So they had to put something out, but they made a mistake. The trailer they put out, we can see right through it because of what's happened in the past with other genres. So it's not like we're blind anymore. We can literally see what they're doing. So there you go.
Enough.
It's wrong. So wrong.
Yeah, but the question is which
Because
7
I
9
dislike 7 of 9. I don't go with it just because she's hot. I actually look at character.
She
Obviously
is
not
the best
Roman.
2 reasons to watch that show.
Yeah, but you mean the 7 of 9 that eventually fell in love with Checo Tay and all the rest of it, or the 7 of 9 who comes back and turns out to be a lesbian after all?
Yes,
I think that's Picard. That's the
Oh,
Picard. version.
so I'm told. I've never seen it. I've never seen an episode of Star Trek Toilet Paper.
Yes.
Yeah, no.
It's just Voyager. I dislike all the characters. Harry Kim is just an annoying young.
Oh, he's useless.
I like the
Yeah.
doctor.
Just gonna use words again.
Robert Picardo was pretty good.
Yeah, he was
Oh,
good.
Doctor. Actually,
One of the best things
Doctor is
about
one of
it.
the best
I'm
parts of the
saying
show,
the
you're right.
Doctor is the best character on that show.
But I thought you said you didn't like any of the characters.
No, that's what it says. There was only one, and then they were actually
Okay.
saying, "We know what one you like," and I said, "No, it's not the one people assume I like just because she's hot. I dislike her. She's the most annoying character to me in the show because she's arrogant, and I hate arrogance." And it's
Also,
just,
the last episode, right? They somehow gave life to the Doctor, and he got married. And I was like, "What? This
But
guy's a
they done-
hologram." Do you know what I mean? What are you
they
talking
did that
about?
before. They did that in the before within the show because he had a hard light emitter.
Doesn't matter. He's not
Yeah.
real.
Yes, he's not real, but because he was
How can
gonna
you get
leave-
married?
Well, he can. He just can't have
How?
kids. He can't
How?
have kids because I'm sure he just needs to tweet his hard light hologram, and his wife will be
Lordy.
happy.
That's just
Whoa,
terrible.
whoa! We're getting so weird here.
Now, do you know what?
Howling
He'll always
Murdoch.
be Murdoch for me.
Yeah.
That guy, the other guy on the right, is not Murdoch as far as I'm
Yeah, he's
concerned.
not.
I was going to
Howling
say that's not.
Murdoch.
I was going to say that. I'm
I
glad
never
you
knew
know
there
the
was-
guy on the right is.
Never knew Barclay was Dwight Schultz until recently.
Oh,
Yeah.
didn't you?
Really?
No,
Wow.
never knew it.
Oh, he was really good as Bartley, so he was with the start.
I didn't really care for his character though.
That's not Sam Beckett on the right, is it? I don't know who that guy is on the right, but
Wasn't Barkley made contact with Janeway?
He did.
Through
He
a
did.
yeah, through a
Yes.
thing
Through
or-
a micro wormhole.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean
There
Barkley.
you go. 10 top bottles. Whoopi Goldberg is the best thing in TV.
Yeah.
I'm
not
happy
good.
to say
Oh,
I'm happy to say I'm banned from Wesley Crusher's Facebook
Wow.
Oh,
page.
did you get blocked?
You know the worst
Congratulations.
thing
I
is-
said, "Shut up, Wesley."
Yeah, Will Wheaton, I hated him,
Oh.
and
That gets you an auto ban.
I disliked him in The Big Bang Theory, although he was a bit more thingy because he seemed to be taking the mickey out of himself
Yeah.
with the character.
I didn't mind him in Big Bang.
I like him as an audiobook narrator.
Mhm.
He's really good. However, he's a nutcase.
I liked
real
him
world,
in
yeah.
Eureka. I quite liked him as his character in Eureka as well, most of the time.
Mm. I didn't mind that.
Technically,
That series was quite good, Eureka.
Yeah.
The stuff that I
Eureka
saw.
was good.
This is
That top
Oh,
10
my
battles
gosh.
is actually certainly setting all the triggers off.
it was so bad. We sat through the 2 hours. I made myself
I
sit and
love
watch it
Warwick
because
Davis. I've got Life's Too Short, which is
Oh.
really good.
I
It was
remember the
bad.
original Willow, but I don't intention watching TV series. It's got
I've no
Disney's name on
intention
it.
of watching it. As soon as they said they were bringing it back, I said no, because all it'll do is destroy.
That's
Yeah,
what they
and
did.
they
That's what they do.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh, it was a
That's
big
why I
screaming
stopped
pile.
watching new stuff, because I was always the thing. You know, I've watched a couple of things and it just like Doctor Who. I liked Doctor Who. Surprise, surprise, with all the stuff up my wall.
What's
And
Doctor
then
Who?
the new stuff, I watched it, and it was okay. But I just realised that I never rewatched it. Never rewatched a single episode. So I stopped watching it before it
What
got
the
to the
hell?
point where it damaged. And I always said to people was, Time Bandits is just, that's, to me, it's just, he's just Time Bandits.
Yeah.
I know he did the something like that, but I'd never seen it.
You know, they're redoing Time Bandits
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why.
I don't know why.
because they hate us. That's why.
That's Howie. Isn't that Howie from
Is that not one of the DeLuise boys?
No, it's Howie
no,
from
I thought it was Michael DeLuise.
no
From
the Fall
Fall
Guy.
Guy.
Yes,
Yeah.
from the Fall Guy. They remade them. They made that into a film, didn't they? Fall Guy.
Yes, they did.
At least
Yeah.
have they? I don't tell them tried to remake that, have they?
They've done it. They've done
Yeah.
it.
They have.
They've remade the
Real
Fall
woman.
The Fall
Yeah,
Guy,
into a movie.
It was they did it as a movie. But see, like the Doctor. So I stopped watching the Doctor Who before all the. I started watching it again when Peter Capaldi came back in. And I thought that's not too bad. However,
Oh, that's so strong.
Call yourself a priest. What's going on?
Yeah, I went to confession yesterday. I guess I gotta go back again.
Go back again.
So what? How to Protestants?
I do like Voyager though. I got to admit.
I
liked
when I
Voyager.
was growing up, one of my friends, two of my friends, they
That's
would be brothers. Every week, without fail, they would go down to confession, which
Mm.
everybody knew. So it's not as if, but there was one time one of them did something, and his brother says, my mum will kill you. And he says, I'm not going to tell her. I'm keeping that for confession. Basically, he knows his mum's going to get him in trouble, but he's keeping it for confession because he doesn't want his mum to kill him. So
She can still kill him, but then he gets the pass because he already went to confession, so it's all right.
yeah, it was just the fact is he would do once he noticed somebody doing that. He's sitting there thinking, I think you're getting it wrong. You're meant to actually not do it.
Do you know what? I grew up in a day when, you used to get hit by your dad, around the head,
Used to
if
get
you
hit
did
by the
something
nuns, dude.
wrong. Oh, nuns. You had nuns that hit
Good old
you.
days.
Nuns are mean. Oh, that ruler.
Oh.
Whap! Ah! Sorry, sister.
I remember in school, we used to get the belt, but the techie teacher never used the belt. He used a T-square across your butt.
Oh, it's terrible.
But no, he would get his chalk and sit all day putting XO, so OXO. He would just keep doing that. And you could always tell somebody was bad in his class because they'd chalk marks across their arse. OXO. And everybody knew. And when you went home, your mum would say, why has you got chalk all over? You had to tell her. And then suddenly when they're up at school and the teacher, the techie teacher, I've got to have a word with you. Going to try and put less chalk on it. Not stop hitting my son. Going to stop putting less chalk on it because it's harder to get the chalk out. Really? My parents would agree with the teacher who smacked me in the ass with a T-square.
My mum told me today that when she was at school in Trinidad, nuns, were in charge of the school, and if you came late to say the morning prayer, they'd put you to stand in the sun for 2 hours.
Oh my gosh, that's a little cruel.
I know.
I'll just take the hit with the ruler. I don't need actual
No.
torture.
Because in Trinidad, the sun is so hot, they just make you stand in the middle of the playground in the sun for like 2 hours. That's
I'm
just
so glad I went to
horrible.
CMB school.
Wow.
Horrible.
So glad I went to a C&V school.
I'm so glad I live in Scotland because they could stand me out. All I would do is get wet.
You just drowned, yeah.
I think I was just
there it
drowned
is.
in the rain. But oh
Do you
my
know
God.
what? Have you guys seen a film called Philomene? Philomene.
I think I have.
Philomena.
What do you
Kind of a-
think, Father? What did you think?
I've not seen it, but I heard of it.
It's
Isn't that
really
the one-
good.
Is that the one where the guy dies at the end?
No, well, basically, it's about
Spoilers.
basically, it's
care.
about
Babe.
who's the girl who play? Who's the woman who plays M? Can't remember.
Judy
Judi
Dench.
Dench one.
Judy Dench.
Judi
I
Dench.
did hear of it.
Yeah, so it's basically about Judy Dench. She was
It's
young
called
and
Philomena.
Philomena, yeah.
Yeah.
She was in a convent school kind of, and she gets pregnant, and the baby gets taken away from her by these nuns and stuff
Yeah,
like
I
that. So
did
she
hear
grows
that.
up to be a, like she's in a 70s, whatever, and she hires a reporter, a news reporter, who's played by Steve Coogan, to try and find her son. And so you get flashbacks of where she was in the past, and you see her them trying to find her son.
I got
It's a
that
really
somewhere.
good movie.
I got that
It's a really
somewhere in
good
my
movie.
collection because
Yeah.
I got it because Steve Coogan was in it and Judi
Yeah.
Dench. But my wife likes it more than I do. It's more her.
What's interesting about it, because it's based on a true story. So what's interesting about it is that Judi Dench's character finds out, obviously, what they did with her son and whatever, what the nuns did. And the nuns weren't repentant at all. They stuck to their guns and what they did. And the Judi Dench character forgave them, at the ending, which is more than what the nuns were supposed to be, more, godlike. But Judi Dench went for all this crap in her life that she forgave them, which is interesting. In real life, that's what happened as well. So I don't know if you've seen it. Have you seen it, Father?
I remember when it came out. There's the other one. I think it's Doubt, where it's basically a guy hears the confession, and the guy's basically going to kill the priest at the end of the week, and he ends up doing it.
Oh, okay.
Because it was an Irish film, I think. But this was
Right.
an old cartoon.
Irish.
Yeah. And well, you used to actually see. Remember the James Cagney one? Was it Angels with Dirty Faces?
Yeah.
Basically, he had the confession, and the guy
Yes.
couldn't tell anybody, and the priest couldn't tell anybody because of confession, and he was basically James Cagney's character would use him just to get it off his chest. Knowing
It's Calvary is what I was thinking of.
Which one are you talking about, PJ? Is it the one where he was going to the
No, that was the
going
one.
to the death?
The one he was going to the death row
sentence.
is the one when he's trying to get the kids
Yes.
to not join him. That
climax was really good because you didn't. So
you
basically,
don't know.
you don't know. Yeah.
He's a
If you ever
killer,
guy, what was it called, PJ? What was it
Angels
called?
with Dirty Faces.
Yeah. If you ever get a chance to see that film, it's really good. And James Cagney does a really good performance in that film.
But you don't know if he actually is a coward at the end.
Yes,
or he's
yeah,
just
yeah.
being very brave and doing it for the
For the kids.
the father,
Yes,
and the
yes.
kid.
Yeah.
You just don't know, and that's how they left it. They didn't turn around and say, "Yes, he told me he did it." It's like they would do now. They would have to tell you what he had. They don't leave it. But
films were very clever in those days.
They were.
The way they used to write movies were very, very, very clever.
Yeah.
More so than today.
And it's the same idea that nowadays, back in the day when I was a lad, they basically you never thought about sequels and stuff like that.
No, yeah.
So a movie would leave it a wee bit open, and they would leave it a bit open so you could make up what you think would be the ending. But now, as soon as they see they've left it a bit open, that's a serial, and you're sitting there thinking, no, it's a one-off movie. The reason they left it like that is so you don't know and you can make up your own mind.
Yeah. That's a good film, I confess.
It is
I really
a good
like
film.
that.
We used to show that in school every year.
Yeah, it's really good. So some of the films, like I remember watching Casablanca 4 years ago on TV for the first time, and I loved it. I thought it was really intelligent.
4 years ago was the first time you saw Casablanca?
Yeah,
Wow.
4 years ago.
I grew up with it because my mother loved it. It was a favorite.
But it's really intelligent, and it's so the scenes are so subtle that if you're not an adult, you would never understand what's going on. But they're so subtle.
Well,
Like the scene. It's a really good movie.
Yeah,
Like, no wonder why it's
the-
celebrated.
See the part where he's getting into the bar and he's giving his speech about how about France and they need to take a line.
Yeah.
That was done. Most of the extras in the bar were French.
Yeah,
And it
yeah.
was done at the time where they did France had been invaded, and they were about the Vichy France, and there were stuff like that. So people didn't know what was happening in France.
Mm.
So when they were giving that speech, the way the people were reacting, the extras were reacting, that was all true because they didn't know at the time. So it brought up a lot of emotions from the.
What is this, Father? What is this?
It's the new
Father,
trailer.
you-
That
You know that clip you keep bringing up when we say something rude? Yes, you should
Yes,
put it now for showing
All
this
I can say
trailer.
right now is shame, 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 shame.
That's exactly
Yeah,
what I
That's
think
the
of.
one.
Yes.
Yes. Now
Yeah,
it's like
Father,
I'm thinking.
I know
of
you
Malcolm-
guys. I know you two guys are from the States. You can have her back.
No.
don't,
Well,
Roger.
you see, that was the thing about the England-American match last week. The winner had to keep Harry and Meghan,
It
but
was a
nobody
match last
won.
week.
Yeah, the
Because
World Cup.
nobody wanted
World
them.
Cup.
Nobody wanted to lose.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But I'm
Nobody
thinking of
wanted
the
them.
Malcolm Tucker line, Yoko Ono, the two remaining Beatles, I think it was.
Mm. I don't know. It's really seems crass, doesn't it? That documentary on them.
Crash. Basically,
Well,
we
it
don't
is
want
then.
anything to do with all
William
that
and
money.
Kate are over here
Whatever
right now, and they
money and
decide to
they kill you.
release it while they're over here in America.
And that's terrible, isn't it?
I saw
fantastic.
a bit of trailer of that. Was it something overvoice saying, "Why do you want to make this?" Asking, "Why do you want to make this documentary?" To which my answer was, "Because I'm a narcissistic actress who hasn't had any fame for the last 5 weeks."
Yes.
Mm.
I never heard of her until she married Harry.
No, I used to watch Suits, so
I
she
never
was
did.
in it.
I never heard of
quite a
Suits
lot,
until
yeah.
she married
Yeah,
Harry.
I knew who she
I
was.
saw the
She
first
was.
couple of episodes of Suits. It didn't suit me, so I decided
Ugh.
not to watch it.
No,
But
I've never heard of it, and I'm sorry, I still don't know what they're talking about racism.
What's that thing that
She's
happened in the
white.
royal family then?
oh god,
It was
that
all over the
that-
news. Can somebody explain that to me?
A setup. And is she American or is she actually British?
I don't know. I
She-
don't know.
She
Obviously,
had
this
her
recent one.
ancestral outfit on.
Oh,
So, because her mum was from Ghana, so she had her ancestral outfit on, and she had the African
was-
flag in the corner of her bandana,
which-
and a royal. I don't know. I don't know if it's a royal princess. It's not a royal princess. It was a
no,
royal,
she's the something like head
lady
of
in
household or
waiting. She was
something,
one
yeah.
of the ladies in waiting for the queen. When they were at a do, she had a phone recording what was happening. She did it deliberately. She was going up
Yeah.
to people, and what the woman says it. But she had the dress, her mother's native dress, and she had an African flag in it. And the woman just asked, "Where are you from?"
She was
And
about
she
authentically
basically-
African as Wakanda.
She basically says that was racist, and it was a case of she only asked where I'm from because I'm black. That's fun. I like that. Although you've forgotten the negative.
yeah.
Well, the thing was, I mean, admittedly, if from what the transcription seems to be, that conversation seems to have gone a long while, playing it out. But it's perfectly natural. You ask someone where they're from, and someone said, you look at this lady, the lady in question. She's what, in her 60s or 70s or something. The lady in waiting, used to dealing with people all the time. I mean, genuinely inquiring about where you from, what's your background, all the rest of it. And you look at this woman, you look at the things she's got on. And I saw some, apparently her name is something, her real name is something unbelievably English. She's not got enough, and Nagobi, whatever it was not her actual name. And she's sort of wearing, apparently, if you break down what she's wearing, she's about as authentically from one African place as Wakanda. She's literally, she's got something. Here's Ghanaian.
Bits of that, yeah.
Yeah.
So the woman asked her because it'd be like me going to America, and basically I say I'm from Britain. If they knew I was from Britain, they would still say, "Where are you from?" Because believe it or not, Britain's 4 different countries. It'd be like somebody coming from America and we're saying, where are you from? We know you're from America, but it's a big place.
I'll be honest, growing up, I never did understand the difference between England and the UK.
That's because of the TV shows. The TV shows, if they're English, like, give you an example. Colin will be able to agree with this one. See Sports, right? You had BBC, you had BBC England, you had BBC Scotland, you had BBC Wales.
Yeah.
When there was sports on, you would get the English match on all regions, but you wouldn't get the Scottish match. And if you got the Scottish match, you would only have that in Scotland, but you wouldn't have it in England. So English TV superseded everything else. We grew up watching English TV, and then when there's nothing decent on, we saw Scottish TV. And it was BBC Scotland that showed the whole thing, because you had the BBC covering the whole thing, but it was broken up into regions.
As a historian, I have to reluctantly admit that for several centuries, the words English and British were pretty much synonymous.
Yeah.
Which was is not right. Is that that Britain is 4 countries. The United Kingdom is.
The United Kingdom's 3. Great Britain is 3. United Kingdom.
Oh yeah, Great Britain's 3. United Kingdom's 4. Yes, I can remember. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And the British Isles are 5, because Ireland is part of the British Isles.
Yes, because you've got Ireland. You've got Northern Ireland.
Complicated.
Yeah.
It
is. It is. Yes, it is. It is.
Yeah.
And you've got British. I'm still not certain whether the word British actually covers anybody outside of Great Britain, because if you remember the Commonwealth, are you have some sort of British citizenship?
Listen, we're all part of the earth.
Yes,
we're all neighbours.
There's
no more Star Trek Discovery.
Yeah, Ian's a hippie now.
Exactly.
Well, no, there's. I wish I could write, but there's an old science fiction series from the 70s, I think. Very back when books tended to be quite short, 120, 130 pages rather than 3,000. And it's called The Expendables. It's absolutely nothing to do with the films. So when the film series first came out, I thought, nothing. But it's basically it's a science fiction one, and it's about proving planets. But there's a line in there where you've got one black, and she's a black, what we nowadays would call capital B black character. But before she's written, accuses the commander of being racist. He says, "Yes, I am racist. I'm anti-black. I'm anti-yellow. I'm anti-green. I'm anti-white. I'm pro-human race." And I thought, fine.
The thing is, nowadays they don't want everybody to think we're all the same.
We are all the same.
Yeah, of course we are, but they want us to be different so we can.
Well, apart from Roman, he's different.
Yeah.
Sorry?
No, we are all the same. That's the thing. We are. It doesn't matter what color we are or whatever. You cut us, blood comes out. We're all the same, man.
We bring up this. We did the Star Trek show on Thursday. We did Space Seed and Wrath of Khan, like a 3.5 hour show. It was a long show. But what we were looking at, not intentionally, but the casting itself, things you didn't think about when you were watching Wrath of Khan or Space Seed was the diversity of the cast.
Yeah.
You know why? Because that was just the cast.
Yeah.
No one talked about it. It wasn't like an insert here kind of thing. It just worked because you didn't even think about it. You gave zero thoughts to, look, there's a there's an Asian, there's an African, there's someone from Russia, there's an Indian fellow.
Well, actually, because Space Seed must have been a first season episode.
Yes, season 1, episode 23.
Yeah, I know that because one of the big plot holes in Wrath of Khan, Chekhov shouldn't have known who he was.
Yeah,
but
you know the story behind that, don't you? So basically, Walter was his name, Cronk. He got the script right, and he read it, and he realised that his character never met Khan. but he kept quiet about it.
Oh, right.
Because if he did mention it, his role would have been small, would have been a Sulu size. So that's why he didn't mention it.
But the thing
And
is,
he got away with it as well.
that's one of the things we talk about Star Trek when it comes to, as you say, even back in the original series, somewhat diverse, using the word properly. But I'm never certain if it's actually if it's an urban legend or not. But apparently, the reason that Chekhov's character was brought in season 2, partly the reason Chekhov per se, rather than the Beatles lookalike style character, but Chekhov was because the Russians looked at Star Trek and said, "Look how diverse it is. No Russians in the future." So they then decided they had a Russian on the bridge.
Yeah, but
So,
they also wanted to have a Davy Jones character. They wanted to have somebody good looking
they
guy
wanted to do
on the
that,
bridge. So obviously they didn't count the rest of them as good looking guys.
But the reason they made that character Russian apparently was in response to the Russians saying, there's no Russians in this bright future of the Americans. So even back in the 60s,
Who knows?
they
You can buy that,
responded
though. You can buy that.
Walter Koenig, basically great as Bester.
Yes. And the biggest, do you or Ian remember there was must have been the 90s, possibly the early 2000s, there was a quiz show called Space Cadets.
Yeah, I remember that.
It's a science fiction quiz show. Was one by Greg Proops, and there was one episode of that. One of the team captains, I think, was Claudia Christian constantly, and on the other team, Walter Koenig guest starred for one episode, and not once did they mention Bester in that. So the whole thing, every time they talked to Walter Koenig about Star Trek, it was always about Star Trek. Despite
but he's known for Star Trek.
Yeah, but the thing was,
but Bester is one of the best characters ever done.
Yeah. And he was on there with Claudia Christian from Babylon 5.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, he's always going to be known for Star Trek,
Yeah, exactly. But I wouldn't expect them not to. Mention best thing, not to mention Star Trek, but it's the fact that he was on there not long after Babylon 5 had finished with Claudia Christian, who was probably the one. He's the one major character. His one major character foil, if you like, was Ivanova, because she was the latent telepath, etc.
Do you know? Just on another subject, you guys like PJ and Roman, you've got all your stuff behind you. I have all my stuff in front of me. Like all the films. All the films that I really... Sorry, was that...
I don't have all my stuff behind me.
Well, you know what I mean. I
have half of my stuff behind me. The rest of it's in front of me.
Well, as I said, right, these I have the films that I really love right in front of me, right? I mean, if I just pull one out, that's Terminator 2. If I pull another one out, that's Jaws. If I pull another one out, True Lies. You know what I mean? I've got the history of what I've watched right in front of me. Just seriously, all these films are classics. They're all classics, man.
Get a bookcase.
That's what I've got. All my bookcases, right? This bookcase, this side is all Doctor Who. The both that row and that row. Right down that side is all Doctor Who videos and DVDs. The other side, similar idea, but all the other bookshelves, I've got all my movies on them and TV shows, all the classics. And
I'm in a garage.
I've got them database. I've got them in a database because I've got so many. I did count them, and I've got 1,600 DVDs.
I've got so many. As I said, right, if I just pull one out now, the best horror film ever made, The Exorcist.
Oh,
there you go. You know what I mean? And this is a really old one
movie
because it has double-sided. I don't know if you remember. They used to have a double-sided. This is a really old.
I've got that one, Ian. I've got that one, Ian. So I've got the exact one. It's the paper case.
Yeah, cardboard. Yeah. So
I know you can't wait to add Indy 5 to that collection, Ian.
No. If you're talking about Indy, I've got. Hold on. I've got this one, which is the DVD version, and I've got a Blu-ray version as well with all and the making of. It's all three classic ones.
And the making of. I've actually got the same one as well.
Yeah. So you know what I mean?
And
It's like all the films in front of me are all classics. They're all classics, and it's a shame you can't say that for the films they're making today. You really can't.
No, you can't. I don't. So, like, let's give me something from the last 5 years.
The last 5 years, okay.
You could
The
say
last-
as a
the last 5 years. Now, hold on, maybe not. Is this from the last 5 years?
No, that's more
No.
10.
No, it is
All
not.
right, okay, that's Dark
It was,
Knight. Dark Knight. I don't know.
I think Bullet Train was good.
I like Bullet Train, but it's not classic though. It's like Tarantino stuff. It's kind of it
But
tried to
some
copy
of
the Tarantino.
I mean, Inglorious.
movie.
Mm.
It's a popcorn movie, something you could just flit on and just sit and watch and without. Whereas some of these ones you need to sit and just enjoy.
Is the Bourne films in 5 years? No.
No, hell no.
No,
That's a
no,
long.
they're a
No,
lot longer.
I can't think of
They're
anything.
like 20.
I cannot think of anything. I can think of movies that I've enjoyed,
Yeah.
like Maverick, Top Gun Maverick. I enjoyed that movie a great
Yeah.
You
deal.
know what one was to Boss Level?
Yeah, but that's
You and Boss Level. You
but it's
and
not
Boss Level,
original.
TJ.
It's not original, is it?
It's not original, but it's.
What about the
basically one of
Avengers
last-
Assemble? The Avengers, is that
I've no-
5 years? No, that's 10.
No, that
Avengers.
was 2000.
God, that's really hard because
It
I
is.
don't. All the films that I have in front of me, all classics. They're all
They're
films
all
that people consider, like some of the best films ever. But 5 years though, that's really pushing it, isn't it? Let's face it.
Yeah.
I mean, can you
Yeah,
name a
they're
film
turning
5
out-
years ago?
mediocre or okay stuff.
Yeah,
Like Avengers, the Avengers films, which finished up in 2018, right?
can't remember. Hmm.
That's because it was because that was the end of or was it 11 years? Damn, my brain. It was either 2018 or 2019. You'll have to forgive me. I don't recall which, but it's 2022 now. So that was 3 years ago that we got Endgame. Would you consider that a classic? I don't. Not necessarily a classic, but it was the end of that classic. Story. But
I
as a
wouldn't consider-
standalone, Endgame was not a classic.
Yeah, I wouldn't consider Endgame or Infinity War classic, but I would consider the 10 years of
Yes.
Marvel
Yeah.
classic.
That
Yeah.
was a classic on as an ensemble.
Yeah.
But
I think Deadpool is older than 5
standalone-
years.
Shazam.
What was
Shazam.
that, Father?
Shazam's
Uh,
good.
PR mentioned Deadpool, but Deadpool's over 5 years old.
Deadpool
Yeah.
was 20. Was it not the Deadpool 2? Was that not 2018?
Well,
Oh,
I know
I can't
Deadpool was 2
Deadpool.
parishes ago, and that's been over 5 years.
Yeah, count on the parishes.
The thing is, with Endgame, is one of those films which you watch it, and then if you watch it again,
Mm.
you start. If you start watching it, you actually engage your brain. You start thinking, "Well, hold on a minute."
Yeah. Oops.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
No, that's not a classic. That's so badly directed. It's very enjoyable, but it's incredibly badly directed. And the script was awful, but it was very enjoyable as far as I was
Yeah.
concerned. It
Whereas
really
the
was.
one, the most up to date movie I've got in my collection is Tremors 7.
Tremors 7.
Sleeper Island.
Oh my God,
Terrifying.
BJ.
I've got
Well,
all the
it's
Tremors.
movie
I've got the
collection.
Tremors box set. I love.
I tell you,
them.
the oldest film I've got, you guys probably don't even know what this is this one here. It's called Double Indemnity.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. It's,
I was going to say
40s.
Metropolis.
I haven't got Metropolis. 40s. One of the best screenplays ever written. This
Right, do you
film.
know what? I'm just looking at the oldest movie I've got in my collection. Hold on. It
What's
is
that?
1926.
1926.
1926. 45 minutes from Hollywood. It's basically one of the ones that's got all the stars doing a thingy. But after that, the Along Came Auntie, which is a Oliver Hardy one.
Ah,
yeah.
right.
The oldest thing I've got in my collection, certainly DVD wise, I haven't got that many, is the original Buster Crab.
Oh,
I've
Flash
got them.
Gordon.
Flash Gordon.
I've got them. I got them a couple of weeks ago. Picked them up in a
The,
charity
original,
shop.
the first one, the Flash Gordon ones.
Yeah. And I've also got was it Steamboat Bill Jr. Wait a minute.
Steamboat Willie. Steamboat Willie.
Think about Willie.
Steamboat Bill Jr. That was Buster Keaton. I've got that in my
Oh.
collection as well. So I've got a lot of the 20s, 30s, and 40s.
I've got the 80s was my favorite era of movies. I love the
I
80s.
agree.
80s stuff is really good. Really, really good.
1982 alone, I think
Yeah.
1982 was the best year ever
Yeah.
for movies.
I mean,
Hey,
even
PJ, what you know what the best movie of 1982 was?
go on then.
I'm just looking at my 1982 movies.
What was it?
Predator.
Predator. Wait a moment. This was Jesus, can't even get it out.
Boy.
I've
Because
actually got more-
I knew what
Ian
would have
just
made
injured
this
himself.
thing.
This
The
one.
Thing.
Yes.
I preferred the Thing from Another Planet.
yeah.
So
The
oh
original.
no, I actually prefer the Thing as well. I was fitting in with our overall Predator arc.
Because Father, what he's basically saying is, do you know what would have made this stream better?
The
What?
Predator.
Here's one for father.
The Predator. We do that all the
Oh,
time.
I
have-
love that movie.
I don't
That's
even
a
have that one.
great movie.
Honestly, father, it's really good.
I know
Really
it
well
is.
directed.
Very hard
I
to
saw
watch,
it-
but it's
I
really
saw
Very
it
good.
hard to
3 times
watch.
when it came out, but I just don't
It's-
own it.
But I think Mel Gibson did a fantastic job on this
Oh,
film.
yes.
He
Yeah,
really
and there's
did.
one movie, Father, you shouldn't watch, and that's Nuns on the Run.
Maybe you should
I
watch
saw
that
it
one.
many years ago.
Isn't that Robbie Coltrane?
It
Yeah.
is, yes.
Yeah.
I'm not
It's-
mistaken, somewhere
It's
in
the
my
fact
brain.
that he's sitting there dressed as a nun with all the girls in the shower, and it's Eric Idle,
Many
isn't it?
moons
Eric
ago.
Idle. But
Eric
even
Idle, and they're chastising him.
the original Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Very good.
Snorty,
Yeah,
I actually quite like all of the Dune productions for various reasons. The original, the 84 movie, the miniseries, the second miniseries, and the Denis Villeneuve ones. I actually quite like all of them.
Yeah.
Not the
Good
same
like
amount,
anyone.
not for the same things.
Right.
But
Do you know what I've got down for 82 according to my collection? I've only got a few. Aeroplane 2, the sequel, came out.
Oh, that wasn't a real. That was.
I saw that before I saw Airplane, oddly enough.
Annie.
Really?
Annie came out in 82 as well.
I don't know.
E.T., Wrath
Not
of
the
Khan.
remake, Blade Runner, Five Fingers of Steel, which is Rambo First Blood,
Mm.
came out in 82 as well. Rocky.
82.
First Blood, it was
Yeah.
originally known.
The best year for films.
Then
It
obviously Wrath of Khan.
What's this? Evil Knievel?
I can't play it out loud. But I'm gonna have to start wrapping up because I
Okay.
do need to get going. But
No worries.
I cannot play this one out loud because there's a major no word in it.
Oh dear.
Ah.
Then you should get
but-
the was it the church lady then, shouldn't you? For
Here we go.
actually putting it on.
I know this
Rex
one. I
Yeah,
know
I'll play
this
this.
one.
Mechanic, full-time daredevil.
Is this not
A man
from
willing to risk
Kentucky
his
Fried
life
Movies?
for the sake of adventure.
This is from
He has to
Kentucky
chase it,
Fried Movie.
Confront it,
It is.
and whip it. Rex Kramer, Danger Seeker.
That's about all I could play of that.
Oh Lord. oh, I know.
Bad word. Bad word.
Danger Seeker is gonna get,
Yeah,
gonna get killed.
That's
So
from
with
the
that happy
Kentucky-
note, I'm gonna
Yeah.
play one more thing on
All I
me.
can say right now is shame, 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 shame.
That's
I think you
from-
deserve that,
Oh.
Father. You
And
deserve
with
it.
that, I do.
That
need
is
to wrap
from the
up,
Kentucky
so-
Fried Movie.
It
That
is.
is a superb. It just takes the mickey out of so many things.
Into the
So,
Dragon, one of the best.
Does anybody
sketches
have
in there.
anything to plug?
Not
Well,
really.
We've got Let's Talk Geeky tomorrow.
What he said.
Well,
What are you talking
well,
about, PJ?
We talk about anything. We squirrel it, whatever. We just basically start, and then
There-
it could go anywhere.
There is no topic, and if PJ gets distracted by something shiny, we go off in that direction.
Yeah,
and we
exactly.
Stay there for at least 45 minutes. Colin
Okay.
comes in from 15:22. It's an amazing show.
Yeah, and then we get the states coming in and explaining the new stuff, so we can slag them, and
Oh,
then
dear. Oh,
we
dear.
get Jim the Viking coming in, gets drunk, falls asleep. We've
Yes.
got him.
Every
So
week.
we have a fun streaming a Saturday night. So we do. It's just a case of let's just talk. What you would do when you used to go and meet your friends in the pub,
In the pub. Yeah, in the
and
pub.
then you would just sit and talk about geeky stuff. and it would
Sounds
go
good.
where the flow takes us. There is
Thank you,
no
Father,
doubt.
for having us. That's all
Yes.
I
Oh,
can
thank
say.
you.
As,
I have
as
to-
always,
I have to
it
go-
has been a pleasure to join.
Well, I have to go an hour earlier next week because I have spiritual direction at about this time next week. So I
Got it.
can go at 1:00 Central next week.
Yeah, you deserve it as well because you've been playing all those clips and
True.
the
Yeah,
church
I'm,
lady. Yeah.
I'm bad.
It's my
Sure.
anniversary next Friday, so I don't know if I will
Okay.
be here or what,
Oh.
what Mrs.
Well,
of
if
the
you
Empire
can,
will
you can.
require.
If you can't,
Congratulations.
you don't. It's okay.
Hey,
43 for us.
Hey, Ronan,
Wow.
my
Yeah,
wife's birthday was Doctor Who's birthday, and I was still streaming.
Look,
Oh dear.
you didn't have to fight Doctor Who. I'll have to fight with Mrs. of the Empire. And
Well,
she can
with
take-
that,
I'm impressed that's not you didn't insert the word X there somewhere.
Yeah.
No,
Still with her.
Well,
Yeah,
with
my,
that,
my,
I
my
thank
wife
you guys.
was aware on her birthday.
All right.
I was
Cheers,
streaming.
Father.
Thank you,
Alright.
Father. Bye,
Good night.
guys.